Can you hear me? Okay. So not only dogs, but horses. The question is, what happened to the dog in the horse in Nybro, pronunciation rule there. Let's have a listen. We talked about voice cloning. This is a terrible example of voice cloning, but since you don't understand Swedish, besides you one here, it's in English for you guys.
Municipality after a horse got stuck in a ditch. Our reporter Olle Turbo he is on site during the rescue operation.
Olle Turbo på plats under räddningsaktionen.
Now it almost came up. Now it tried to stand on its front legs, but then it steps down one more time and then the legs come down again in the mud. Shortly before 7 o'clock on Friday evening, the rescue service announced that the horse was finally able to get up with the help of a forwarder.
Till slut tas upp med hjälp av en skotare.
And the horse, despite several hours in the mud, was finally able to stand on its own 2 feet. All is well that ends well. P4 Kalmar.
P4 Kalmar.
Okay. So this poor chap is called Piero As. He is a very old horse. He's 29 years old. He was a former racehorse, like a trotter. We have them on like in the back of the horse and we ride, that way. And he was trying to jump across a ditch. He failed because he's old, so he went to the ditch, he sank. And he's fine. We're happy for that. We picked him up with a forwarder. Now, in Sweden, we have lots of forests. It's like Sweden is this, like population of London, but you throw them out on 500,000 square kilometers. So this is great for picking up horses and logs. I had to look it up. Now, why am I talking about this? You could ask. So this looks more techy. This is a log of questions that people have asked our app, our service, about anything. Well, we want them to ask about the news, but they can basically ask about anything. So the angle is October 3rd at 7:10 in the evening. Somebody asked, what happened to the horse in Nybro? Now, I found the story. That's where you had the audio. It was like a month ago where we did this reporting. A reporter went live and followed this very dramatic thing. And it's just very like local, nice, engaging journalism about something we care about, horses. So somebody asked that question, so that's a perfect example of what you can do with the tool when you have to ask about the news. So you can ask about old news, something that you heard about, something maybe somebody told you about. We don't know who did this because we don't like track our users like that, but we do like to see what they're asking. And this is demonstration time of the tool that this is all about. So maybe we switch to my reliable laptop. Yeah, this is live. So let's ask the question and see what the person got. This is where we kind of get more serious on it. We built a tool. It's not like a separate app, but it's built inside our Swedish Radio. Hello? Our Swedish Radio app and website. We call it a news search. It's a very interesting session before about is it a search, is it like LLM? This is a little bit of both as well. But you ask questions about the news, and you will get the journalism that we have produced. You can see the related articles here. You will find all the reporting that we've done on incidents involving horses in Nybro. Now, this is astonishing because Nybro has only 20,000 people, but the horses get stuck in mud, and there has been a horse transport stuck in a ditch as well over a month ago. So there seems to have some issues on how they take care of their horses. We can ask about anything. We can of course ask about like updates on the like current major news that shapes the world as well, if it would care to answer. It's probably going to fail if it hasn't answered. Oh, there it goes. So much news about Ukraine and the peace plan. We will get summaries on the current events there, of course, but we like horses as well. So we can ask about more news about horses, and we can get anything about... Yeah, there's one more horse missing. Where is it? Oh. Sundsvall, okay, not Nybro. Yeah, okay. So let's get back to the presentation now. So like I say, we built this feature to ask about the news. So I work for Swedish Radio. I also work, but I don't get paid by the EBU. But I work together with them, and EBU has something to do with this. We'll get to that. So we call it a conversational news search. This is not a good name, but that's what it is, because you will ask in your own way. You can ask if you speak Swedish well, if you speak it bad, if you you spell wrong, you can ask in any way you want. The QR code will lead to this demo site that I put up there if you want to ask your question. It will understand English and Swedish and all languages. So we built this because there's a thing happening now, how do we get information? How do we consume the news? We are beyond, Google, probably beyond the way we used to use Google at least. We have a survey made annually in Sweden about the internet habits, how we use the internet, how the Swedish population use the internet. And this is a really telling quote on how young audiences do. They say that the Google will answer with links, but AI will give me answers for real. It will give me summarization. It will be more like a conversation, more like an assistant. And we see the younger audiences choosing that way to gather the information. That's how it is. But it seems to come with some problems now. And its problem is about, reliability might be a little bit harsh word, but it seems to be a fact that the answers, if you ask one of these big AI assistants on news stories, you will get some to significant issues on the answer. It can be about the factual matters of the fact. It can be unclear about where the sources come from. It can be a little bit about, is this an opinion or is this a fact? If we work with journalism, that is a huge difference, really. We want to talk about opinions, but we also need to know what the facts are. So the EBU coordinated, I think, was 18 different, 22 different companies, broadcasters, who together assessed a handful of these. 3,000 different questions were asked, and then they were assessing them according to, how correct will the answer be. So from 5 to 20% of them will have issues. Now that's, it's not all of it, but it is a little bit, if it's frayed in the edges, we're on kind of like a slippery slope there. I'm hoping this will get better. It probably will, but because we're in a very, things are moving fast. But if people are relying on this for information, sometimes for crucial information, small drops can be of concern. So what do? We pool our resources. We are part of the EBU. We at Swedish Radio have been collaborating with the EBU on different development projects. One of them it's called the European Perspective. That's where we have over 80 news outlets sending all the news stories to one big news hub. I think it has over 4 or 5 million stories there. So it's kind of to share news stories between them. It's to just do the research. And based on this NEO project was built where we can have this conversation. It's targeted to the end user. We are feeding it with 300 to 400 news stories daily from over 30 newsrooms in just Sweden. And our data set is over 600,000 because we produce a lot of atomized news stories with atomized sounds as well, standalone sounds. So it's built on this platform coming from the EBU, which means anybody who's a part of the EBU can do what we did, really. That's what we say. We kind of added stuff on top of it. So that's the sales pitch for EBU. And now I'm moving on. A little bit about, of course, I love the thing about what is an LLM, what is a search. And we're kind of doing a little bit of all of them here. For those who are interested, it's kind of I think it uses 5 different LLMs to do different tasks. So it starts with somebody asking about what happened to the horse. It will try, because this is a news, we call it a news search. We're not sure what to call it. I'm going to talk about why we're not sure. But first it wants to know whether or not this is a story that we can answer at all. Does this has to do with the news, or is somebody just typing in random stuff? Uses LLMs to understand that. Then it comes to what I think is super cool is the vector searches. So you can take a piece of meaning written in a text and turn it into a series of numbers, and which will be a vector. And you take all these documents and do the same thing with them. You will have them in, say, a multi-dimensional vector space where objects that are similar will be close to each other. So the term horse, because if you instead look at the keyword thing, if you take the word horse, of course it's probably a four-legged animal that eats grass and gets stuck in ditches, but it can also be a chess piece. It can be a drug, and it can be something that you do for gymnastics. So keywords are good sometimes, but they don't understand meaning. To understand meaning about this actual horse that we're talking about, vector searches are better. And if you combine them, I think we get a good, very interesting, even search tool here. Then the last thing, what you see is Grader is just picking out, okay, these seems to be most relevant, and then finally the generator, which is the generated text built by an LLM, will just take all this text and just summarize this for me, please. So it has lots of spinning plates behind it. So that's it. Let's talk about the use cases. So at Swedish Radio, it's not a standalone app. It's a feature within our app. But I do believe it's we don't really know what the best use cases would be. One that seems to be working really well is, this is an editorial piece about when we successfully move a church up in northern Sweden, because we built a mine underneath it, and the mine is so successful, but the ground is starting to collapse, so they have to move the church. I think some of you might have seen this. This went very viral. It's a beautiful church as well. That's why we didn't tear it down, so we choose to move it instead. And lots of reporting on this. Of course, it's a topic of you have to actually move a whole town. How do people feel about it? They didn't tell the whole story, because like 1 week after they moved the church, they say, by the way, you guys, we need to move more of the city. That was not random, that they had the party first and then the bad news afterwards. Now, so when you have a news story like this, you can always add, this is the entry point to our service here. Here you will see anything about, here you can learn more about the church in Kiruna, ask the chat, and then you can, ask your own questions and get more stories. So a use case of going directly into each story, it seems to be very good, because we make so much content, and what the user actually wants to know. Do they want more background? Do they want to think about more churches? This is the way to give them control and give it to them. Since we're an audio company, it has to play audio, and it is playing audio now. This is just the web version of it. To the right, you will see a queued playlist. So all the news stories that we pick from a search will be added to a playlist queue. So these are the short news bits, 1 minute, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, news bits that will end up as a playlist as well. So you can kind of get the response. This is not generated, this is actual, not actual, but what do you say actual when you say AI is also actual? But this is our, the way we do our news audios. And that will be a playlist for you. We do podcasts as well, so the next iteration is we'll feed it more context about our podcast catalog, and this is the next version of it. So getting a podcast tip for longer listening is, of course, in the works as well. And we iterate and we iterate and we iterate on this. This is super interesting as well. We realized news stories to young people, the young audiences, and the very young audiences that are not adults yet, it's a thing that you have to do in the correct way. So this is just a prototype. We realized we can take the exact same service using the exact same news stories that we have, all the terrible stuff even that we can talk about, but make sure that we prompt the service to make sure you explain this in a way that does not cause, fear or amplify emotions. Because when you do journalism, sometimes when you do journalism for adults, you kind of want to amplify and play on emotions, and because that will make you read more. But when you address younger audiences, the responsible thing is to, be clear. Don't avoid difficult subjects with an asterisk. Not all subjects, those you should talk to a person about them. But most subjects can be talked about in a clear way. So we realized we can take all our content and fit them for different audiences. One thing that we also want to do is to add it to audiences who are new in this country, in Sweden, who don't really read very well. Just simplify and make it clearer for them as well. So this is where generative AI really shines, because we can do like public service journalism, but give all our content to everybody, not just to the ones it was originally written for. And the thing is also we get opinions and insights on it, because you're allowed to give your feedback whenever like you see how would you rate this score? We're kind of like training it, but the feedback is also interesting because it goes. everywhere, right? And this, and it's great. They're allowed to express opinions and sentiments. Sometimes they don't help us, but it is interesting to hear, and it's really fascinating because somebody will give 1 star to something that they really like because maybe they misunderstand the rating system. But we use it just to see if it does a good job, because this is very. The capabilities are here. We know that we can do it. We don't really know what the best use cases for a radio company is, so we're in the experimental stage. We're trying it on different things. We're making sure we only make sure that it can, deliver some kind of. If it can deliver some kind of answer, that's good, and that will be the red line will say whenever we can answer. There is a gap still where we don't answer. We filter out abuse. We filter out like blah 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 stuff. But when people are asking pointed stuff or opinionated stuff and criticizing our journalism, we still don't answer. And that's what the next one I want to go, because good services like that will take the answer, seriously, but in the way it will try to answer it seriously. And because we see problems with debates going that will just throw junk at each other. And the user rating in the blue line, we follow this. We want basically the red line to be as high as possible, and then we know we're doing a good job, whatever we do. People are really asking about local things that they care about. The local sports is something, you maybe difficult to find because, major sports, no problem, but the local sport things are harder. Topics that you somehow care about, something that's like on your plate, people are asking about. Of course, local politics, local things surfaces surprisingly a lot when people are asking. Of course, the main thing is what did happen to the horse in Nybro. Now people know what happened to it. This is a very big, confusing chart, but it tells us about. Okay, red means bad score. Green means good score. White means we have not been able to answer this. So and this is just a proof of concept, but it is a way to try to visualize whatever people are asking. Are they satisfied with the answer? That's good if it gets green. If they're not satisfied, it's red. That's interesting. What's most interesting are the white ones, because we have not been able to answer. That's what I'm talking about, what we want to fill in all those blank spots. So this will, because now the audience are kind of feedbacking to us what they think about the journalism that we do and the content that we produce themselves. This is the first time they're kind of talking back to us in a very detailed way compared to just measuring, spending time or being there. They're having a conversation with us, but we're really listening to the conversation in 2 levels, if you know what I mean. This is Peter. He's doing fine. He was a little bit younger then, but we're happy that he's having a good last years of his life. So thank you.
Thank you.